Hey there, everyone. Happy Hump Day, happy Wednesday, and it is the Wednesday evening edition of Weather for Weather Geeks. Another challenging day forecast-wise across the region as showers were a little more numerous than I thought they would be, and they were a little farther north than I thought they would be at this time yesterday. It looked like these would be more of a Columbiana County and south kind of a thing, but it was mostly actually north of Interstate 80 that we had the showers. I'll show you the radar loop in just a second. But one thing we did get right today as far as the forecast goes, the fog this morning. We told you about this yesterday that could be locally dense, and here's a time lapse from our Youngstown camera showing the fog gradually lifting. Turned into a pretty good looking midday and afternoon with some sunshine across much of the region, some fair weather cumulus clouds, and then we started to see those showers cropping up. We've had this little subtle boundary nearby once again today. That boundary did not slip far enough to the south today to bring in significantly lower dew points. And because it kind of hung up a little farther north than it looked like it would, the showers were a little farther north than it looked like they would be. So these were mostly in Trumbull and Mercer counties today. A couple of them snuck down late in the afternoon towards Coatesville and Louisville and heading over towards New Wilmington and Newcastle as well. Actually, a pretty nice looking outflow boundary right there at the end of this loop. Let me stop the loop here. That kind of a green line right there, that's an outflow boundary. The cooler air from those dying showers rushing out ahead of them and creating a little boundary, a little mini cold front, if you will, and sometimes you can even see those on the radar. So that's what the radar looked like at 7 p.m. All right, I mentioned the dew points really didn't drop significantly today. We were tantalizingly close to the cooler air today. It was kind of up in here and north of that front. I drew that backwards. Let's do proper meteorology and draw that front the correct way. That front is kind of like right here. It just did not want to sink much farther south than I-90 today, so while Buffalo and Rochester and Detroit got in on some of the much drier air, we stayed in the soupy 60s for dew points. All right, sky's clearing this evening, and the August full moon is going to rise here right around sunset, and the August full moon, most commonly known as the full sturgeon moon, named after the largest fish in North America. There's several other names for the August full moon. There's usually several names for each month's full moon. A lot of these originated with Native Americans quite a while ago, naming each full moon during each month for something that is typically going on in nature or with agriculture during that month. So you'll get into the full harvest moon, for example, as we get into the fall season, but in August it's the sturgeon moon. All right, after a nice clear night to view that moon for tonight, I think tomorrow's going to turn a little more unsettled than today. With this boundary nearby and moisture pooling near it, I think there'll be a couple of rounds of showers and storms cropping up between, say, 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. They will fade away by tomorrow evening. The Storm Prediction Center has all of eastern Ohio and western PA in the low-end risk for severe weather in the darker green. If you think of it as kind of a 1 to 5 scale, we're at a 1 tomorrow. A day like today was a 0. There was no risk for severe weather today. But tomorrow is kind of a 1. We almost never around here see a 5. A couple of times a year maybe we see a 4, and much more commonly 2s and 3s in our part of the country. Anything above a 3 is something that is pretty rare around these parts and usually only reserved for kind of the peak severe weather season, maybe a couple days in May and June. Do we ever see a moderate risk across our region? Anyway, low-end risk tomorrow, mostly between 2 and 6. Most of this will be pretty garden variety stuff, but a couple of these storms could get feisty enough to bring down some strong winds and perhaps some hail as well. So something to keep in mind if you have outdoor plans, second half of the day on Thursday. By Friday, that boundary's kind of washing out, and we're into a nice southerly flow here. It's going to be a seasonably warm and muggy day and probably largely dry as well. I'm carrying a 20% chance in our current forecast for Friday, but it's slim. I think most of us stay dry on Friday. Also, a dry forecast for Saturday, despite our in-house model here trying to have some green somewhere nearby. Still not really buying that at this point. I've got a dry forecast with a partly sunny sky Saturday and temperatures making their way into the middle 80s. And a good pool weekend coming up. Heat index values will be elevated thanks to the elevated dew points. Mentioned we have temperatures in the mid-80s Saturday. The dew point, or the heat index, I should say, is closer to 90. And then the heat index Sunday and Monday getting up into the mid-90s. So it's going to be pretty steamy. Already some schools starting late this week and more commonly next week. And this looks like a really toasty pattern for the next couple of weeks. As school gets underway in most districts, as the Canfield Fair approaches, the high school football season gets underway in most areas here coming up either at the end of next week or the following week. And don't see a lot of autumnal air coming our way, as I commented on social media today, despite walking into the grocery stores and seeing pumpkin spice everything already here in mid-August. Nothing autumnal about this forecast as we head into the second half of August. That'll do it for tonight's video. Thank you, as always, for watching. Get your forecast anytime on the Storm Tracker 21 app. Don't forget, you can also watch this video on the Storm Tracker 21 app. If you're used to watching this on a desktop or on something else other than your phone, you can fire up the app and watch these videos once they are posted each evening. All right, I'll see you back here on Thursday.